Russia has exported many elite fighters who have dominated in the UFC, but not all of its brightest exports have landed in the most prestigious promotion. A few standout heavyweights have wreaked havoc on the other big organizations and earned their reputation as unstoppable forces of nature. One of them is ONE FC's own and MMA's first three-division champion, Anatoly Malykhin.
Все возможно. Возможно шуметь, возможно гонять 84, 3 пояса держать. Ничего нет невозможного в этой.
Malykhin evolved from a top-heavy ground-and-pound wrestler into a vicious knockout artist. Equally adept and deadly in his wrestling, submissions, and striking, the Siberian is easily a top 5 heavyweight in the world.
We train old school. There's no real heavy lifting. Wrestling, boxing, old school boxing, shoulder training, running, sit-ups, a lot of running. This guy is the fastest heavyweight on the planet. Like, he can run. Power on him. Like, he's one of the best guys in energy you could ever ask to train. Like, powerful.
The undefeated Russian made history in early 2024 by winning the middleweight belt while also holding the light heavyweight and heavyweight straps. While UFC fans wonder if Alex Pereira can become triple champ, Malykhin has already achieved this impressive feat and can easily be dubbed the scariest heavyweight outside the UFC. With a 100% finishing rate, natural killer instinct, and charisma to match, Malykhin is an attraction no MMA fan should miss. Anatoly was born on January 11, 1989 in Kemerovo, Siberia, in the far north of Russia. As we've seen countless times, harsh environments breed tough fighters, and Malykhin is yet another example of this. He started wrestling in 5th grade and gradually made a name for himself, culminating with a gold medal at the President's Cup and a bronze at the Russian National Championship in 2013. Malykhin expanded his skill set and entered submission grappling, where he won the European Grappling Championship in 2016. But while medals are great accomplishments and make for great room ornaments, they cannot pay the bills, and Malykhin quickly found his way into the much more profitable realm of mixed martial arts. The Russian's debut materialized in September 2016 and went as expected. Malykhin wasted no time and used his wrestling to take the opponent down and finish the job. A few months later, he entered a Russian amateur MMA tournament. The game plan was identical to his first fight: shoot low and pummel on the ground, finishing all 3 of his opponents impressively for the gold. Amateur MMA is a great way to earn experience, but Malykhin did not leave wrestling to fight as an amateur and returned to pro MMA fighting at the end of 2017 to face Reza Torabi. By this time, the Russian, who carried the nickname Spartak, had started to refine his MMA wrestler's toolkit. Instead of driving recklessly for a takedown, he started setting up the attempts with punches. But once on the ground, the game plan was clear: control and bludgeon until the ref steps in. His next 2 fights would both end inside the first round, using the same tools as he would during his amateur career: elite grappling and relentless volume. By this time, Malykhin had already found his second home in the Tiger Muay Thai gym in Thailand, where he would become a truly well-rounded MMA fighter and add the missing striking layer to his already impressive grappling superiority. Next on the Siberian Bear's hit list was 20 pro fight veteran and WSOF mainstay Jake Hune, who traveled to Russia to face Malykhin in his hometown. Despite his impressive resume and experience, the American was as helpless as Malykhin's previous opponents. In a search for tougher competition, Spartak was matched against multiple-time kickboxing world champion and 30-plus pro MMA fight veteran Alexei Kudin. The Belarusian fighter had a fierce resume of devastating knockouts and a wealth of experience dismantling wrestlers on the feet. None of this helped him, though, and he found himself underneath Malykhin in under 30 seconds. Still, the experienced fighter managed to survive both the ground and pound and submission attempts. In the second, Kudin quickly found himself under the weight and claws of the Russian bear. He had no answer to the onslaught and had to wait for the referee to save him from further brain damage.
Все, Все закончено в этой встрече. И похоже, что Алексей Кудин не против.
In October 2019, Malykhin met 7-1 prospect Lucas Alsina at GTC 7, and yet again the script was unchanged. It only became flashier and more impressive. Anatoly used his lead left overhand to enter for the double leg and took Alsina for a ride around the cage. The Argentinian briefly defended against Malykhin's crushing top game and managed to prevent his shoulder from being torn, but proved no match against the Russian powerhouse. With 8 straight finishes in 3 years, Spartak set his sights on the big leagues and soon enough got the call from Asia's biggest promotion, ONE FC. Unfortunately for him, the pandemic spoiled his plans for a quick ascension in ONE. He had to stay on the sidelines for a year and a half before making his debut in Singapore in March 2021 against experienced fighter Alexandre Machado. It turned out the year and a half away from the cage allowed Malykhin to greatly evolve his style in Thailand. From the start of his MMA career, Malykhin has cited Fedor Emelianenko as a huge inspiration. The relatively small Russian had a well-rounded and deadly efficient skill set, even if it did not look the most polished. With a similar frame, Sladky has molded himself into an equally vicious all-around human weapon.
Reverse the position, but good balance so far showcased by Malykhin as he's dropping punches between his legs.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen that.
Can the wrestler submit the BJJ black belt? Side of the head open again.
Spartak sneaked a few peculiar shots for the crowd's amusement before crucifying the Brazilian.
You hear that thump?
Side pressure still, it's crazy.
Defend yourself, Red!
Machado tried to tough out the torturous position, but was quickly forced to tap.
Just hammering away relentlessly. Well, there's the ballroom dancing now, we see it.
My friend, 1 second. My English little bit. No, 3 months и my English now уровень.
I'll tell you what, he may idolize Fedor Emelianenko, certainly though nothing of Fedor's personality. This man is a bundle of joy. What a character!
With his name rapidly gaining recognition and rising through the ONE FC heavyweight rankings, Malykhin made an important business decision and made his wife Anita his new manager. Anatoly has shared more than once that she's always been his biggest supporter and a big reason why he is so successful in MMA. With the managerial shift came another change. Anita insisted that Malykhin change his nickname from the ancient gladiator Spartak to the much less daunting Sladky, which means sweetie in Russian. With his growing success came more confidence, and Sladky campaigned to fight against Amir Aliakbari, a fellow wrestling champion with 2 Greco-Roman world titles, somewhat marred by doping violations.
Malykhin! Come to see me, bro! Come on!
Okay, well, he's coming to see you right now. First of all, hold on. Let's save it. Let's save it for
After some back and forth in the media, the 2 heavyweight juggernauts finally faced each other at ONE Revolution. As it often happens in MMA, the 2 elite grapplers duked it out on the feet, where Malykhin was improving by the day.
Coming from Ali Akbari. Nice right hand landed by Malykhin, though.
Curling the leather.
He showed improved distance control and head movement while still throwing with bad intentions. The various punch selection and in-and-out movement of Sladky confused the Iranian, and a beautifully timed counter right sent him to the canvas.
He just got caught by Kang Ji Wong the last time.
Oh, he got caught again! He got caught again!
Some perfectly legal knee strikes under ONE FC rules and an unbreakable front headlock sapped whatever strength the Iranian had left. 3 precise and brutal punches later, the giant fell like a cut tree, and the rivalry was settled with an exclamation mark.
Back of his own. Mitch, you said that movement. I don't see it.
Well, he had it, now it's gone because I think he's tired. Look at him.
He's getting lit up again. He gets dropped. The big kibosh.
The feared top-heavy grappler was now a knockout artist and a problem for any heavyweight on the planet. After the impressive performance, ONE FC president Chatri Sichotong promised Malykhin the title shot against newly crowned heavyweight king Arjan Bular.
How do you feel about facing Ajong Buller in your next matchup?
Whoa! My пояс! Булар! Иди сюда, неси его на живот ко мне!
However, the title holder was not in a rush to sign the dotted line. Anatoly used the full power of social media to force Buller to accept the fight.
Арджан! Булар, подпиши контракт! Подпиши контракт! Арджан! Арджан, не убегай! Арджан, подпиши контракт! Арджан!
But even the slew of viral videos was not enough, and after a while, the Russian shifted his attention to a new target. With the champion unwilling to fight, ONE FC introduced an interim title between Malykhin and the, at the time, 5-0 Kirill Grushenko. Despite the power Malykhin puts into his shots, he fights loose and relaxed when not exchanging, which allows him to throw without getting tired. Grushenko managed to stay just out of range of the clubbing shots for a while, but eventually found himself on the canvas.
You can see that left hand of Grushenko.
At the start of the second, Sladky launched a leaping left hook Mike Tyson would be proud of, which jerked the Belarusian's head back.
And take a little bit of the gas tank.
Big left hand, and that sent the head rocking back.
Malykhin pounced on Grushenko, but couldn't finish the job.
And Grushenko is rocked and in trouble.
But then, out of nowhere,
Seemed to be the strategy that they wanted going mean feet. Oh, and he's collapsed. And Olivier Coste jumps all over him to make sure that there's no more punishment.
in his 11th pro fight, Anatoly Malykhin was crowned the ONE FC Interim heavyweight champion, and he reveled in his accomplishment with tears of joy.
Anatoly Malykhin!
Do you have a message for Ajong Buller?
Bro, Arjan Buller, my baby chicken. Baby chicken. No fight, no big heart. Bular, где ты, Bular? Ты где? Come, fight!
The long-awaited showdown with Arjan Buller was scheduled for September 2022, but the champion once again pulled out of the fight, this time citing a surgery he had to undergo. Instead, Malykhin was granted the chance to earn a second belt at light heavyweight from double champion Reinier de Ridder. The Dutchman was a much more significant challenge, with his 16-0 record and grappling wizardry unmatched at both middleweight and light heavyweight. Malykhin jumped at the opportunity despite the tough weight cut. Still, it's important to note that the ONE FC light heavyweight limit is 225 pounds, unlike the widely accepted 205 pounds used in the UFC. De Ridder quickly attempted to take the fight to the ground and avoid the danger of Malykhin's clubbing hands, but Anatoly was immovable. Moments later, the Russian landed a hard right and forced the double champion to look for the takedown again.
Key weapon here in the stand-up. Oh, he caught him! He took a shot, he took a heavy right.
Anatoly was just too strong and well-balanced, showcasing his elite defensive wrestling. 2 minutes into the fight, De Ridder was looking both hurt and disheartened, as Malykhin found great success with his uppercuts to the head and body shots.
Taller than Malykhin. The reach on these two guys is roughly the same.
Right from Malykhin. Yeah, shooting for the takedown. Oh, he already takes a shot to the face.
And 30 seconds before the end of the first, a thudding right to the solar plexus dropped his guard and created the opening for the finishing right to the midsection.
Somebody's always about to go. Nice body shot.
The angles, all the levels. It's Malykhin.
Handles. And that's when they're not moving at you.
Somehow already are still
He's out. He's out.
In less than one round, ONE FC had a new double champion.
Right here, Malykhin steps in, and it wasn't that first. And that kind of folded him, but it was that overhand right. The arm was already folded up at that point in time, but the second.
Anatoly Malykhin!
I'm best of the best world champion. One championship, league #1 in the world.
After over a year of ducking, the unification bout between Malykhin and Arjan Buller finally took place in June of 2023. From the first bell, Malykhin applied pressure on the feet, but was measured and careful in his approach. And for the first time, Malykhin implemented a diverse range of kicks into his game.
Very good defensive boxing to shut down the offensive power.
Buller was on the back foot and looking to counter, but he regularly received thudding body shots and uppercuts to the head. Malykhin was definitely doing more damage.
They see holes. Trying to unify, carry away most of the big shots. Coming from out in the pocket now. Needs to get that thing going so far with the wrestling. Or to drop the hands down.
And in the third, Sladkey stepped on the gas and pummeled the Indian in the corner. He survived the onslaught, but only briefly before the Russian bear mauled him on the ground to finally get what he knew was his. The undisputed heavyweight title. Mowing through the heavyweight challengers and having 2 belts was not enough for Malykhin, and he was set to rematch Rainier de Ridder, but this time for his 205-pound middleweight belt. The middleweight limit proved no issue for the Russian, who weighed in 1 pound under and impressed everyone with his shredded physique. Malykhin started fast as usual, and while not as dominant as in their first meeting, the Russian was again in control of the fight. The Dutchman found some limited success, but it was Malykhin who landed the heavier shots and stuffed all takedowns attempts with ease.
Off. Look at that.
Oh, couple of right hands by Malykhin.
By the third, de Ridder was looking visibly tired, while the big weight cut did not seem to affect Malykhin at all.
Tough to deal with somebody who's always in your face.
That's Malykhin coming forward. Oh, Malykhin is off de Ridder. Oh, de Ridder goes for a takedown.
After a minute-long grappling exchange, Malykhin decided to get back on the feet, but de Ridder simply couldn't find the strength to follow. And Anatoly Malykhin became MMA's first 3-division champion.
3-belt champion. Let's go!
At 36 and among one's biggest stars, Malykhin is highly unlikely to part with the Singapore-based promotion. But one couldn't help but wonder how potential matchups with UFC heavyweights would unfold.
Там в какой-то параллельной вселенной мы, дрались бы с топами из UFC. У любого бы были проблемы. Я вот вижу в UFC вообще соперников мне на данный момент в тяжелом весе.
As Anatoly himself recognizes, the only names that could give him a run for his money are John Jones and Tom Aspinall.
Это Джон Джонс, безусловно, это лидер, это самый тяжелый бой в карьере, ментально-космический человек с колоссальным опытом. Аспинал, он мне очень нравится, везде развит, везде подкован. Всех остальных я не считаю вообще себе за соперника, что они там раунд продержатся.
Bones has cemented himself as a one-in-a-generation talent and is deadly in every aspect of the game. Malykhin's expert use of his shorter frame, thunderous hands, and 100% takedown defense make him a dangerous foe for the legend. But betting against Jones has been futile thus far, and will likely remain so for however long he stays in the game. On paper, the matchup with Aspinall looks even more explosive. Both of them have one-shot knockout power, and move much faster than heavyweights have any right to. A clash between the two would likely be short but legendary, and we can only hope that somehow the promotional gap can be crossed. But while these battles remain in the realms of fantasy, Malykhin will continue to write history in ONE FC.